We're dealing with a myriad of issues. I was just talking to Josh Green, the governor down in Hawaii, who had some ideas around some land use concerns he has around speculators.
No. Look, I would take
her over it. It's horrible that we have to do that.
I could never vote for Newsom. I just can't. I would just say that his leadership in California is good reason to brush him off for the loser that he really is.
Gavin Newsom probably thought he was walking into a casual, friendly conversation. Instead, Anna Kasparian showed up ready to hold him accountable, and she didn't hold back. No shouting, no theatrics, just sharp, calm, and direct criticism that landed exactly where it needed to. One moment, Newsom was smiling. The next, he looked like he was figuring out how fast he could wrap it up. This wasn't a debate. It was a reality check, and he didn't see it coming.
Car's gonna get broken into, okay? You're gonna get robbed. Nope. Using taxpayer money, funneling it to nonprofits so they can literally buy crack pipes and hand them out at Skid Row. There's video evidence of that. Paying incredibly high taxes that go to what? So yeah, I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it. And honestly, just experiencing what I've seen on the ground in California has made me question a lot about left-wing ideas.
Quick reminder, if you're enjoying this, hit that subscribe button. It really helps the channel grow. Back to Newsom. He likely expected another polished media moment. Suit pressed, hair in place, smile ready. Everything seemed lined up for a typical appearance. But Anna Kasparian wasn't there to make small talk. She came straight at him, calling out his double game of acting progressive while ignoring urgent issues and cozying up to wealthy donors. She was clear, calm, and unapologetically honest.
14, voters in California overwhelmingly supported a ballot measure to support building more reservoirs in the state in order to bulk up our water infrastructure because we live in a drought-prone state. That passed in 2014. Funding was attached to it. You want to know how many reservoirs have been built since 2014? Zero. This state is an utter joke because of the people who are governing it. Gavin Newsom right now is at the top of that list.
Let's be honest. Gavin Newsom has spent years trying to balance the politics. While quietly signing off on new oil drilling, he still manages to sound like he's leading the fight against climate change. He has built a slick image as California's reliable leader. But that image is wearing thin, and the problems facing the state are just too big to hide behind a smile and a few catchy lines.
This is what I was surprised about. I did not expect Donald Trump to flip 10 counties in California from blue to red. But I guess I shouldn't have been surprised about that either. Because when you look at the conditions that people are living in a Democrat-controlled state, well, yeah, you can understand why people are turning their backs on the Democratic Party. You can understand why people are frustrated at the corruption, at the loss of $24 billion that was allocated to help the homeless, when homelessness only exploded during that time, and that money is now unaccountable.
That's when Anna stepped in, sharp, focused, and clearly done playing nice. Whatever good press Gavin had left, she tore through it in minutes. No yelling, no drama, just straight talk and tough questions from someone who's been paying close attention. She didn't just challenge his record, she exposed just how far he's drifted from the leader he claims to be.
A President Newsom candidacy look like in a general election, not just pandering to the left?
Yeah, good question. He would sell out the American people to corporate interests, just like he did with PG&E, starting fires and destroying countless Californians' lives as a result of that. He bailed them out. He totally bailed them out. He has provided protection for them, even though they absolutely refused to update their century-year-old equipment, which everyone knew was going to lead to devastating wildfires.
It started off subtle, maybe a raised eyebrow or a slight smirk. But Anna didn't wait around. She jumped right in with calm, clear criticism that cut straight through Gavin's carefully crafted image. This wasn't some angry rant. It was deliberate, focused, and sharp. With every point, she chipped away at the polished exterior, exposing how flimsy it really was. And the most brutal part? She never once had to raise her voice. She backed it all up with facts, nothing flashy, just solid, undeniable truth. Gavin loves to say he's fighting for everyday people, but Anna laid out the gap between what he says and what he actually does. Suddenly, all the photo ops and mixed messages were front and center. She wasn't just calling out one governor. She was pointing to a bigger pattern. A reminder of how often politicians say one thing in public and do the opposite when no one's watching.
Newsom, in every single interview I've seen him do, has passed the buck, even though he is the governor of the state. Yeah. He is pathetic. He's a snake. He's like the slimiest Democratic politician, certainly on a local level. But what we have seen is mismanagement of epic proportions, and the mere existence, and it is real, the existence of climate change should not be utilized as a talking point in order to pass the buck, in order to deflect blame, in order to refuse to take any personal responsibility for how poorly this state has been governed for several years.
Anna didn't yell. She didn't try to put on a show. She simply laid out the facts, made the connections, and let the truth speak for itself. It was calm, direct, and powerful. She walked in, said what needed to be said, and left the internet buzzing. No drama, just real accountability. Now, about Gavin's political image. People want him to be everything at once. The media paints him as a bold progressive. Remember when he said California would lead the way on clean energy? Sounds great. But that speech didn't mention the oil drilling permits approved under his watch, or the ongoing mess of the high-speed rail, or how environmental priorities tend to disappear when lobbyists get involved. Anna didn't just challenge him, she exposed a disconnect. What people saw wasn't leadership. It was a polished performance that's starting to wear thin.
I don't know if I can...
Please, you must. It's a necessity.
So, Democratic establishment candidates are full of shit. And I need people to understand that. And we need to get out of this like vicious pendulum swing cycle where we go from one terrible administration to another terrible administration. They just have different branding. But in the end, they do nothing for ordinary people. And that's what people are hungry for. I think that's part of what explains the popularity of Zoran Mamdani in this mayoral race in New York City.
Anna wasn't just pointing out a few slip-ups. She was calling out a pattern. Call it the Gavin Shuffle. Say all the right progressive things in public, then quietly walk them back when no one's paying attention. Most folks don't notice. But Anna did, and she brought the receipts. What really hit home wasn't just a policy breakdown. It was a focus on the mindset behind it. The idea that image matters more than honesty. That as long as you say the right buzzwords, like equity or climate action, no one will notice you're not actually following through. And honestly, Gavin didn't really fight back. No sharp tweets. No fiery statements. Just silence. And that silence said everything. It made Anna's point even louder.
A native Angelino. I was born and raised in California. I love my state. I love the people in the state. But it is an absolute wasteland right now. Every freeway bridge is full of people living in tents. There's excrement on our sidewalks. It's unsafe. Crime has gone up. And when it comes to coronavirus, I mean, the fish rots from the head down. Let me just mention.
When someone calmly calls you out with nothing but facts, people usually respond one of three ways: panic, denial, or pretending it didn't happen. Gavin went with option 3, acting like nothing happened. But the internet wasn't having it. Clips of Anna's takedown spread fast. Twitter, Reddit, YouTube, TikTok, you name it. People were watching, sharing, and laughing. Memes exploded. Even channels that usually stay quiet were suddenly quoting her. Oh, at least paraphrasing her. Because quoting her word for word might have given Gavin's PR team a meltdown. Why did it hit so hard? Because deep down, this was a result of Gavin treating his job more like a stepping stone to the White House and a responsibility to the people of California. He's been treating the state like a backdrop for his political image, and now it's catching up to him.
Oh, I'm sure he really does find it funny. He's not bothered by it at all. You just heard the bitter statements of a snake who unfortunately serves as the governor of California. Some like to refer to him as Gavin Newsom. I like to refer to him as a smarmy failure of a politician out of the state that I was born and raised in. Nonetheless, Gavin Newsom was fighting hard to be the guy who stepped in to replace Joe Biden if he dropped out of the race, of course.
Meanwhile, Anna sat there like someone who had been watching all along. Because she'd seen the glitzy fundraisers, the behind-the-scenes walkbacks on policy, and the carefully staged photo ops designed to please every audience. And she made sure everyone else saw it too. She didn't need to raise her voice or put on a performance. She just laid it all out, clear, focused, and with just enough sarcasm to make the point stick. Anna didn't just criticize Newsom. She broke down his entire public image, piece by piece. This wasn't an emotional outburst. It was a direct challenge to the version of Gavin that gets sold to voters. The so-called progressive who keeps dragging his feet on healthcare, avoids real tenant protections, and talks tough on homelessness without real results. One line in particular hit hard. You can't run a state like it's a movie trailer. All flash, no follow-through.
He's so cool and relatable in his genes, and but like from between Cuomo and Newsom, these are actually two really good examples of people who represent the Democratic Party establishment who have not fully reckoned with their unpopularity during the COVID crisis and are now sort of trying to be as powerful as they were before without maybe actually even being seriously introspective as opposed to whatever the hell that was.
You're absolutely right, okay, in your analysis. And let me just say, you know that I like you when I'm willing to sit through a podcast episode featuring Gavin Newsom just to prepare for this. Okay, because I can't stand him. I can't stand his raspy voice. And it's not for any superficial reason other than the fact that I live in California. Mm-hmm. I've had the displeasure of experiencing what his leadership actually looks like.
Anna didn't stop there. She called out the real issue, Gavin's fear of taking a clear stance. She said the problem isn't a lack of ambition, it's a lack of backbone. He waits to hear from pollsters, donors, and the media before he makes a move. That's not leadership. That's just performance. Her tone never changed. She didn't raise her voice, but her words hit hard. Not just harsh, they lingered, the kind of criticism that sticks with you. And online, it blew up. Reddit was full of posts like Anna just calmly ended Newsom. Even political commentators who usually avoid drama were quoting her. As for Newsom's side, silence. No spin. No comeback. No vague tweet trying to shift the narrative. Just nothing. And honestly, that silence is everything.